This is my 2007 BMW 525i, and I got the battery charger on there because I'm doing some detailing. And I'm actually in the process of refinishing my headlight lenses because they're kind of cloudy, and when I'm done, they will look much better. So this is the stock halogen bulb for the Halos, and this is the new LED, and it's a little bit of a pain. And you will probably cut up your hand a little bit, but it's definitely doable. Also, the new LEDs come with these little harnesses, but on my BMW, I didn't have to use these. These might be for a different one. All right, to make this a little bit easier, I literally just kind of stuck my flashlight right there, and we're gonna go ahead and remove this cover. And looking at it this way, it unscrews counterclockwise. Kind of wiggles out of there. And next we're gonna remove this bulb right here, and that's actually for the momentary high beam. It's a halogen bulb, and that just gets turned counterclockwise as well. It slides right out. And then go ahead and kind of just pull this up here and get it out of the way. And try not to touch the lens with your fingers, or else it makes it cloudy when the bulb gets hot due to the oils on your fingers. All right, so actually getting the halo bulb out of here is kind of a pain because it's that guy stuck way down in there. Same thing when you're actually looking at it from this way, it turns counterclockwise. And the problem is you really can't get your hand around it. And just putting pressure on one of those wings is not really enough to break it free. So I used a long flathead screwdriver to put pressure on the little nub right there near the bottom. And that'll kind of help even out the rotational force so you can actually turn it. Just with the screwdriver. And that should be enough. All right, kind of just moved it out of the way, and we just have to fish it out of here. Next, we just have to disconnect the connector, and I'm gonna use a pair of pliers. Just don't tug on the actual wires themselves. All right, so maybe try to be a little bit more careful than I was. Let me just fish this little piece of plastic out of here. So I finally got it out, and I did break a little bit of plastic on the connector. In worst case scenario, you could use the connector the bulbs came with, just hack it off and solder or splice it onto the factory harness because it's the same connector. But I should be able to go ahead and use this. And the wire got messed up just a little bit, but the actual copper strands are fine. It's just the insulation. So what I'm gonna do is put some heat shrink on there. And I actually pulled this out using one of these pin removal tools. And basically you stick it into the connector and push down that little tab right there, and it comes out. And you will have to bend it back out so it stays in there when you put it back in. Got some heat shrink right here. And I'm just gonna do one at a time so I don't mix them up, especially with LEDs because they have to have the right polarity. Yeah, you can see that little top cutout is where the little tab goes. Oh, and you heard it click into place. All right, now for the brown wire. All right, and don't forget to bend that tab back out a little bit. Just like that. And I'll slide on the other piece of heat shrink I got. And this is just so they don't short out. And slide that back in. Now I'm just gonna use the heat gun to shrink the shrink wrap. All right, so I did end up putting some extra heat shrink on there too, just so it's completely covered, but I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, just be careful because these things can be brittle. So the LED sticks out way further, but it actually works because there's enough space. And I think they did this just to make it brighter or something like that. so you're not losing all that light out to the sides, but it does fit just barely. It's kind of a pain to get in there. And for the record, this little smaller square part goes up, and it'll go in there and turn clockwise when you're looking at it this way. On the last one, I tried to install this first before plugging it in, but it was pretty much impossible to get that connected once it was in there. So you'll have to plug it in beforehand. Make it a little easier, I was able to stuff this wiring harness back behind the housing, kind of to get it out of the way. Alright, we're almost there. Getting closer. Alright, so I think it's finally in place, and you just want to make sure it's nice and flush all the way around and it's not crooked. And we should be able to turn it to lock it in. Alright, it's turned and locked into place. You can actually see that little square tab. Hit that little black tab on the housing. And we are good to go. Right, one more tip is it's probably not a bad idea to kind of just wrap this bulb in a towel, because you're kind of moving it around a lot so it doesn't break. But anyways, let's go ahead and install this guy. Alright, that bulb is locked into place. Now just go ahead and install the cover. Make sure it's not crooked. And we are good to go.